Hey guys, I have my October wrap-up for you guys today. I read several fairy tales that I talk about in another video, so they're mostly Grimm fairy tales and then Beauty and the Beast and also a Neil Gaiman fairy tale retelling. So if you want to know how I felt about those, I have a detailed review that I will probably post before I post this video. And overall, I'm glad that I read most of them, but most of the Grimm ones were actually really disappointing. So yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, go check out that review. And then also I read two children's stories and one book that I don't really know how to categorize it. It was Weird Things Customers Say in Bookstores by Jen Campbell. And then the other two were novels. So I didn't really read much on my TBR, and while I did read a lot of little things, I did end up reading a lot, which I enjoyed. And so the first kids book that I read was Odd and the Frost Giants by Neil Gaiman. This was really good. It's about a little boy who kind of goes away from home because he's really not appreciated at home. So he leaves and he comes across these three animals who can talk. And he's like, how can you guys talk? And it turns out that they are three of the major Norse gods, Thor, Loki, and Odin, who have been banished to Earth and cursed by being turned into animals by the Frost Giants, who have taken over Asgard and booted them out. And so basically the whole story is about how this kid finds them and then helps them go and take back Asgard. It was really cute. I don't think I have a bad thing to say about it. I really enjoyed it, and the illustrations were wonderful. It was a fun experience because I listened to the audiobook read by Neil Gaiman while I was reading the actual book that I got the Kindle edition on Overdrive, and it was great. It was just fantastic. So yeah, thumbs up for that one. Probably, I think I gave it like either a 4 or 5 out of 5, I don't remember which. And then the next book that I read, the next children's book, was The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. I loved this book so much. The writing was gorgeous. It was fantastic. The only thing that I had issues with this book is that these animals are anthropomorphic, which means they can talk, they dress up like humans, they live like humans, they have money, stuff like that, which was great. However, with that kind of world, you would think that when these animals came across humans, they would just seem like normal animals. But no, they can interact with humans as well. Like humans treat them like they are also humans, which was cool, but it got really confusing after a while because these are animals, but then you don't know, like you don't even know how big they are, because at one point, like you would think a toad would be the size of a toad, but at one point Toad has to dress in a washerwoman's outfit to escape, and it fits him really well. So it's like, how big are these animals exactly? So that was kind of confusing, and I will link Leslie over at Words of a Reader's channel down below because she does a review of Wind in the Willows, and she kind of had the same problem with it that I did, but she's a little bit more eloquent about expressing it. But yeah, aside from that little issue, I really loved it. I thought the writing was gorgeous. I loved the characters. Toad was selfish and just really stupid most of the time, but it's exactly how his character was supposed to be. He was just crazy, And Badger was wonderful because he was the kind of wise, fatherly character who was just completely awesome. And Rat was my favorite. I can't even explain why. I just thought that he was lovely. And I really love the relationship that he and Mole have because they become friends in the first chapter of the story. But when they become friends, it's like an instant connection where you feel like these two have been friends for their entire lives. Like, you feel like they're old friends as soon as they're new friends. And that was really cool to me. I just thought that that was fantastic. So yes, overall, this book was fantastic and amazing. And I also listened to an audio adaptation of it on YouTube by this random English guy who just decided to read it out loud and put it online. I think his username is Higuro, and it's the only thing he has on his channel, and he was phenomenal. Listening to him while following along in this was great. It was wonderful. So yeah, really liked this. And then I also read Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. 5 out of 5 for this one. It's basically just stories that have happened to her because she works in a bookshop in England, I think in England, and it's just ridiculous things that customers have said and done in her shop. And also other people sent in stories to her, I think, on her blog for the book, and a lot of her stories are also on her blog, but that didn't really take away from it for me because there were added illustrations, and there were also stories from a lot of other people that aren't on her blog, so I thought that that was just, it was a 5 out of 5. It was wonderful. If you are a bookseller, or you work in a library, or you just love books, go read this book. It was wonderful, and it was very quick as well. Next, we have The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. I listened to the audiobook of this performed by Jim Broadbent while I was reading it, and it was great. His performance was, I don't know why I expected anything less from Jim Broadbent because he's such a good actor, but he did such a great job. His voice is just amazing, and the way that he did each individual character's voice was different and unique, and it was great. So 5 out of 5 for the audiobook, and probably like 4.5 out of 5 for this one. The writing was really great. The story itself was heartbreaking and endearing. I don't want to say too much about it because if you haven't read this, I don't want to say anything because I want you to go into this book as blindly as possible because that's how I did it, and I think that it enhanced the experience for me. But this was just a beautiful story about how a man's physical walking journey can turn into an emotional journey without him knowing it, and it was just his emotional journey about going back through and kind of analyzing all these things that have happened in his life and trying to be happy again. It was wonderful. I loved it. I loved Harold's character. I loved Maureen's character. And at some points you don't like them in the story, or like some points you're like, oh man, that was really harsh. But that's how it's supposed to be, I think. I think there are points where you're supposed to question them. But yeah, this was completely wonderful, and I highly recommend this book to anyone. It was great. And then, lastly, if I can find it. Oh, here we go. I read Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I'm not really going to talk about this book very much because I did a separate review that I will post probably before I post this. but just know that I highly, highly enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars for me. I did have some trouble with some of the character flaws, but these characters were supposed to have flaws, so that's okay. But yeah, I did have trouble with that at some points, but this book overall was beautifully written and just really depressing, but it's that kind of book where it is depressing, but you really don't mind. So yes, I loved this one, and if you want to know more of what I thought, go watch my review on it. So yeah. Okay guys, so that's everything I read in October. I don't think I read anything that was originally on my TBR for the month, but that's okay because I thoroughly enjoyed everything I did read. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and again, please go check out my fairy tale video and my Far From the Madding Crowd video, and I also reviewed the movie in that video, so yes, please go check those out, and let me know what you guys think of anything that I read this month, if you've liked it, if you want to read it, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.